Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Dustn.tv interview. Today, I'm interviewing a couple of really great guys. I've got the chance to meet them in person a number of times. I've seen them present on stage countless times, and every single time I walk away with my face hurting from smiling and my stomach hurting from laughing so hard. Tripp and Tyler Stanton, how are you guys?
Doing great, man. Thanks for having
me. Absolutely. Tripp, I really love the look you going on there. I've said for years that I think you'd look great in a mustache, and it's great that you finally grew one just for this interview.
It's this is when I'm revealing it. No one's seen it yet. So
nobody's seen it. Oh, this is
a new look for me. Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Now you are two of the funniest guys that I've ever personally met. So I'll start with you, Tripp, since you're on the leftmost part of the screen. Tell us about how you got your start into what you do today.
Well, I got my start by being very interested in video production. And so I always knew since I was a little kid that I would do something with cameras and something that was creative. I studied media communication in college. I started a production business soon after, and I don't think I planned on incorporating comedy, even though looking back, that was always a hobby as well. I just didn't know that it would be something I would be able to do professionally. And then eventually, once I started working with Tyler, we started to be able to leverage my production resources to making funny videos that we wanted to create together, and eventually it all just kind of became one thing, and now we're making comedy.
Awesome, love it. How about you, Tyler? How'd you get started in this whole shindig?
Well, like Tripp said, we both have been big comedy fans our whole life, and where we are today. No, we ended up we went to the same high school. We weren't really friends, but we had a similar group of friends, and so after college, when we all started hanging out together, we realized that our comedy tastes aligned, and we just started doing funny stuff. You know, we did some of it live, we did some of it on video, and we uploaded all that to our website, don'tbethatguy.com. And invited our friends and family to watch it, and kind of how it started.
Very cool. So you've just launched a brand new book, which I did have here. I swear to goodness I had it. It's disappeared.
Wow.
It will reappear before the interview.
The one prop you needed.
The one prop. You had one job to do. One job. So you just got done. I can't even imagine, creating. I've always wanted to create a book. I've had several outlines for books. People keep telling me I need to write a book, but I've never actually sat down and done it. So tell me what that creative process is like. Where did this idea start, and what was it that sort of got you from point A, no book, just an idea, to point B, hey, we're getting ready to launch a new book?
Well, back in 2009, 2010, that time period, Tripp and I both blogged regularly, and we were blogging about these kind of things. Almost every day, we were just the trivial things in life, and at the same time, we were also making videos about them, but it just so happened we had this writing outlet for it as well, and I ended up self-publishing a book. A book out of those blog posts that is it's a very embarrassing relic that is no longer in print, that is few copies floating around still out there, but it was one of those things where I self-published and didn't edit. I didn't even spell check, really. I just kind of cut and paste from my blog and put a book out via Amazon. And we just continued to write after that, and once we had an opportunity, we had a book agent, and we put a proposal together. And once we had a chance to do it for real, we were able to revisit a lot of that stuff and make it better and cut out some of the junk and put it into what you see today.
Mm-hmm.
So, writing a book is one thing, by yourself. Doing it in a collaborative manner is a whole different thing entirely, I think. How did you guys manage to do that, to collaborate on the book? Was it, did you have like a shared Google Doc, or, we're writing letters back and forth and mailing them, and, one person would add his thoughts and mail it back?
It was really easy, actually. Tyler just wrote it, and I added some stuff here and there.
So you're basically just the pretty face on the cover.
Yeah, I mean,
backside.
I think when I read it now, and yes, I have read the book since it was published, I realized that I contributed more like sporadically than I thought, but the creative process, honestly felt like I was just editing Tyler's book, because so much of it existed in his self-published version. I definitely think when we put our heads together on anything, things end up being better than when one of us tries to go at something alone creatively. I mean, I can make a video, Tyler can write a book, but when we work on it together, there's a shared value that's definitely a 1 + 1 is greater than 2 thing. So, I think yeah, that's my answer.
Cool. And what was the time frame do you think this all happened over?
Well, I would add to what Tripp was saying by saying that there's a lot more that goes into writing a book, we found, than just writing a book.
Right.
That's like the smallest part of your time.
Because you would go through, we would collaborate, like you were saying, on Google Docs, going back and forth and, cutting out this part's not that funny, let's add to this, let's replace this with this point, and then, you turn in, I can't even remember how many words the book is, but you turn in a certain amount of words, and then a quarter of those get cut, and then there's 15 to 75 other decisions that have to be made after you turn in the manuscript. So it was probably, when it's all said and done, it's probably a 2-year process.
Well, we kept turning in manuscripts, and they tell us that we weren't even anywhere close to the goal amount of words that we needed.
Yeah.
So in response, we would just hire someone to make more illustrations. I mean, we figured each one of those was worth 1,000 words.
At least. Well, that's awesome. So I just think it's such a fascinating thing to see this piece of art that you've created, this collaborative piece of art, come together, and all of a sudden it's here, it's together, it's ready. Finally, the publisher says, "Okay, we'll try and sell this thing." What does it look like to put together a marketing plan for a book? I've never done it myself. I've helped some authors do it, and I kind of understand what that's like. But what was the experience like for you guys?
For us, I think it was looking around, with the manuscript being turned in, and then there being a lot of stuff that was out of our control to get the book out. We had a lot of time to think through the marketing plan and think through, not just try to come up with ideas, but also research what other people were doing. We looked at people like Tim Ferriss and Gary Vaynerchuk and Michael Hyatt, Jeff Goins, those guys that some we're friends with some of them we just look and respect, look to and respect, and we'd see what they were doing, what we liked about what they were doing, what didn't really connect with us, and then honestly just kind of cherry picked a marketing plan, put some stuff together, and then presented it to our publisher, and they had some ideas of their own that have worked that we didn't think of, and so we just essentially just pieced this thing together, starting about the book. It's November 2nd now, or what was it, 2nd? Doesn't matter. It's early November now. The book just came out, and so we started implementing some of the plan, I guess, back in like June, May or June.
Uh-huh.
We kind of had like a 6 months out. We started doing certain things.
Okay. And so did you start, what was your first initiative? Did you start with your email list, or was it a social media or a website? How did that come together?
I think Tripp, and you'd probably agree with this. We kind of cherish our email list above any other audience that we have. I mean, obviously there's the YouTube audience, but in terms of like, people that like we get to connect with people on a deeper level.
Yeah.
We really love our email list. So we kind of started there and looked to put together a launch team. And again, not our idea.
Right.
We saw it happen with some other people successfully and thought, hey, that's a good idea. So we went to our core group of fans and said, who wants to be on the launch team? First 200, or actually it was 150. First 150 people sign up, you're on it. And you'll get some exclusive perks and get a free copy of the book if you just leave an honest review online.
You mean this book right here?
Yeah.
Boom! I lovely assistant slipped it over to my chair.
Nice.
Yeah, this is the book, and I did fortunately get onto that launch team. So happy that I did. So here's the book.
Yes, you got a physical copy of the book, not just a PDF.
And it's not autographed though, so I'm a little bit disappointed. But the book itself is such a funny thing. I'll tell you this: I'm not much of a LOLer, especially when I'm reading to myself. I'm when I read, which a physical book for me is difficult to read. I read blogs all day long, but something physical, like I have to discipline myself. Yeah. And even when I do, I'm not very out loud, but my wife gave me several very strange looks when I was reading this in the living room because I just started laughing out loud at some of these completely relatable but ridiculous situations. I especially laughed at the server stuff when you were talking about restaurant servers because I used to be a server. So I could totally understand some of those.
Did you ever sit down in the booth with one of your patrons?
I did. I have actually done that. I've done that several times. Yeah, I'm guilty of some of the things that you said not to do as a server in this book. I tried to be the buddy, I tried to be that guy, and it never worked the way that I wanted it to.
I figured that's just certain restaurants have that protocol. Like that's what you're supposed to do.
Right. Okay, so you put together a launch team, and which I was a part of, and to me, the way that you wrote that, it really felt like, we were becoming part of the team, and I think that's very important when you're launching something big, is to give people somewhat of an ownership in that thing. Would you agree?
Oh yeah.
You did something also that was really cool. You incentivized people. You had a little bit of an incentive program for your newsletter signups. Tell us about that.
Sure.
Well, actually, you answered because you had your head around that more.
Well, basically, like I was saying, our big thing is the email list.
Yeah.
We want to grow that. We want that to be a fun, special, unique experience for people.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were just trying to think of different ways that we could grow it from where it is now. And so one of the things, it was honestly, we wanted to give people an incentive to refer their friends to join it, not just to follow us on Twitter or watch a YouTube video, but actually become part of the community. We found I found some post that was kind of like a hack version of keeping up with MailChimp referrals.
Uh-huh.
It's actually pretty genius, but it enables you to use some workaround to keep up with referrals and not have to, buy some other service. But anyway, we were like, if we can incentivize people to get their friends to join the list, then, what are some of the things that we could use as incentive? And one of the things that we thought of was, I don't even know, it might have just been Tripp saying, let's let somebody be in one of our videos. We never thought anybody would actually, we didn't think anybody would actually refer anyone. That needs to be the, I can't concentrate with what's happening with Tripp right now.
It's great. I didn't know that it was possible to grow responsive beards or mustaches, but it's pretty incredible, Tripp. Yours is seemingly very responsive, more responsive than the websites that I build.
Thank you.
Okay, so you incentivize people through referrals, right, to your newsletter? Is that how it worked?
Yeah, it was very, like I said, we didn't expect anybody to actually do it, but one of the incentives was if you get 50 people to sign up for it, then you can be in one of our videos. And somebody did it that day.
That day, within 24 hours?
Yeah, and we, like I said, we didn't expect that to happen, so we're still in the process of figuring out how to get this guy from, like, I think he's lives up north somewhere, in Michigan or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, we got to get him here. He's probably watching this podcast right now.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out, JJ. We're gonna make it
Don't
happen.
worry, we got your back.
Shout out to, is his name JJ?
JJ is his name.
So,
Well, awesome job, JJ. You beat me to the punch. I was going to try and win that, but you beat me. Good job.
Well, we need to talk about, Dustin, we need to talk about the fact that we had 2 years ago, we had a meet and greet.
Uh-huh.
oh, man.
In LA?
A little embarrassing. Tripp and I had a meet and greet with our quote-unquote fans in
Your
LA.
LA-based fans.
We just tweeted out that we were in LA. We wanted to... Whoops, that was an accident. I was planning on hitting that, but it was just poorly timed.
So we sent this tweet out on Facebook or whatever, and it was, come join us at this time at this restaurant. And you and your wife showed up, right?
Yeah. We showed up at the restaurant that you tweeted, and you weren't there.
Oh, yeah. We weren't there.
Oh, we were in a different one.
That didn't change.
Double date, you and your wife and me and Tripp.
Yeah, it was really cool. I'd never been to that area of LA before, and it was a pretty cool place, if I remember it correctly.
How far did you drive?
Gosh, we were living in the Valley at the time, so it was probably only about 30 minutes.
Okay, not too bad.
Yeah, not too bad. At that time of day, too, it wasn't too terrible, the traffic. Any other time, it would have taken me, but you guys picked a good time. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was the first time I got to meet you in person. I think we had met briefly at one of the Catalyst events.
Yeah.
Just passing. You guys are, running that show there, so didn't expect you to remember me from that. But man, yeah, it was so cool to have a beer with you guys and see where you guys were at, and it was a lot of fun. But so this I guess this fan call to action was a little bit better than your LA-based fan call to action.
Yeah.
Where somebody won, and that's pretty awesome.
We got a little ahead of ourselves.
Yeah. Well, hey, it happens to the best of us. And so, tell me about once now that you have a little bit of buzz, you've got your street team in order, and you're paying a lot of you're building that community of people who have somewhat of a stake in the success of the book. What's the next step? So you've got your street team. They're active. You got some news.
We've got something really exciting to announce.
Uh-oh.
We haven't really announced it. I'll mention it for the very first time right now on your podcast. How about that?
I'm honored. Yes. Another
I don't know what
Dustn.tv
you're going to announce.
What?
Tyler has no idea.
Well, I'm going to announce two things, Tyler.
Okay, go for it.
One thing I'm going to announce is coming up soon, we're going to introduce a new level of involvement and interaction with Tripp and Tyler. Right now we're going by the name the Tripp and Tyler Quadruple Diamond Club.
Okay.
That could change. That's the working title. And we're creating a way for a very select few of our fans to be in a little earlier on what content that we're releasing, and not only watch it sooner, but give us feedback sooner. And it's a way for us to become more aware of our demographic appeal to specific pieces of content, but also to do a better job by letting people say, hey, this was funny, this wasn't. And we just want to build a team of people. We'll probably limit it to like 1,000 people. But that's coming up, and as well as a weekly web show that starts in January.
Awesome. Very cool. So when's all this happening?
That's not, I don't know. It's probably going to be January. It could be as early as December, but it's probably a 2015 thing.
Okay, cool. So the best way for people to know about that is just to sign up for your newsletter. Go to trippandtyler.com.
The best thing to do is always to sign up for our newsletter, because you'll get the information you need. Like, a lot of people aren't on Twitter. A lot of people that are on Twitter, they don't see all the tweets that come in, and they miss some of our announcements. And our email is also just another platform for us to have some fun and joke around too. So that's always the win. You won't miss anything ever if you sign up for our email list.
Yeah, just go to trippandtyleremail.com.
trippandtyleremail.com. That's easy.
Yep.
Cool. So I've got this book, and one thing that I will also say about this book, people know me to be a bit of a visual Nazi, and that's okay because that's my profession. I love the design of the book. I really, really love it. It's funny. It's whimsical. The photography is perfect. Standing in front of a urinal. The colors you used are great because yellow is a color of excitement.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
Of course it is.
What was that?
So of course it is. That was our intention.
Right. They're totally intentional. So the color yellow actually releases dopamine in the brain, and we associate it with happiness. So great choice on that. Great job. And I will say that a review by Jeff Foxworthy is nothing to shake a stick at. And I'll read this. It's right on the cover of the book. It says, probably one of, I'll read it in my Jeff Foxworthy voice. Probably one of the top 10 books ever written. I can't wait to read it. That was the worst Jeff Foxworthy impression ever made. And obviously, he had.
I'll second that.
You made a bold choice, though. Good job.
You did.
I love Jeff Foxworthy, but I can't impersonate him for the life of me. But that's really awesome, guys. I'm super stoked. I'm about halfway through this book, and that's really saying something because I just don't read books.
Well, Dustin, you don't have to read it in order, too. That's the other thing we love about our book.
That's a great thing. I've actually skipped around quite a bit because, the way you guys, came up with the structure. It's just like you could really just find what you want to read or what relates to you or what piece really sticks out to you, and it's really a lot of fun to kind of pick and choose. So congrats on that, guys.
Thank you.
What is the next? I mean, you told us a little bit about what the next step is. I'm stoked to hear about whatever weekly series. But what's next in the world of Tripp and Tyler, and what are you most looking forward to when it comes to being able to reach your fans through social media and through your website? And I purposely made that way too complicated a question.
I would say that our number one priority is always providing our fans with more hilarious video content. And we work pretty hard on moving towards television, but in the meantime, we're going to try and put out more hilarious videos this coming year than we ever have in the previous years. Quantity and quality, more.
Very cool.
And so that's always going to be our priority.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cool. Final words, Tyler? Ta-da!
A second to think about it. Tripp?
Nada. He's got nothing.
I would just say, we'd love for you to sign up for our email list and we're really looking forward to making that something that's not that you're actually excited about getting in your inbox, as opposed to just how fast can I delete this or hit the unsubscribe button.
Right.
Really want to try to figure out a way to make it something that you look forward to.
That's awesome. And one thing that my readers also know about me is that I'm very adamant about my newsletter. I don't just hit send once a week just for the sake of hitting send. I put a lot of heart and soul into my email newsletters, and my insiders that when I send it out, it's only going to be good stuff. And I can say that on your behalf too, as a subscriber to your newsletter. I know that you guys just don't hit send, once a week or once every 2 weeks. You wait till you have something really good to say, or really important, or really entertaining to say. And I really appreciate that, because we all get way too many emails that are just garbage. I mean, it's just day after day. Hey, come look at this blog post. Hey, come look at this blog post. Hey, I wrote this blog post. It's the same thing. And someone who puts time, care, energy, thought into their newsletter before hitting send, I think is definitely a newsletter to be a part of. And much can be learned from how you guys handle your email newsletter. And really looking forward to continuing to follow your YouTube channel. All the best of success with your new book, Stuff You Should Know About Stuff. And guys, thanks so much for joining me today on Dustn.tv.
Our pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
And everybody else, thank you for joining. Thanks for watching. You can find the link at the bottom of this YouTube video, if you're on YouTube, to the full blog post with a commenting section on the blog post. The first person to comment on this blog post will get a free copy of Stuff You Should Know About Stuff. So head over to the blog, comment, and let Tripp and Tyler know how much you are looking forward to the book. And I will see.
We'll throw in an extra copy for the 51st person too.
51st.
Yes, we will.
All right. Well, you heard it here, folks.
And it's the name and the address.
And 51st person to comment on this blog post, I will make sure to get your email. Your email will be.
We should clarify that the same person commenting twice still only counts as one.
Right.
Comment.
Stipulation: it must be two different people. If it's the same person on the 51st, we'll get the 52nd.
And your comment can't be first. Like, it can't be the word first.
Right.
Happens.
Must be at least more than one word comment.
I think we got it. Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, thanks so much, and best of luck to you. We'll see you on the internet.
Thanks.
All right.
Thanks, Dustin.
Yeah, thank you, man. I was
guys.
blessed. Sorry to interrupt some of these sound effects. I have ADD.